Truly excited to have you join us on this edition of the show. Our Tech Tips allows you to find login credentials to use online. Our mobile app of the week allows you to find interesting people to do exercises with. Do look out for our online security and giveaway segments. This is Tech Trends, and I'm Chukwemeka Agbata.
The 5th edition of the Social Media Week in Lagos features a central stage for keynotes and panels, multiple rooms for workshops, master classes and presentations, and an area dedicated to co-working, networking, and interactive installations. The first keynote address, titled The Future of Media, was delivered by the Chief Product Officer of Facebook, Chris Cox. In the session, he explains how the future of the media will be driven by immersive media, also known as augmented or virtual reality, authenticity of stories, and building communities.
Since the last time Mark was here, we announced the TIP, the Telco Infrastructure Project, which is an industry consortium for telcos to improve their infrastructure using a suite of best practices on what's working at Facebook, what's working at other tech companies, and what's working all around the world. We've continued to make progress on rolling out free basics as well as express Wi-Fi, which is helping local entrepreneurs deliver Wi-Fi using a backhaul and a suite of services that Facebook provides. And then we're continuing to invest in longer-term projects like Aquila, which is a plan to hopefully one day be able to deliver fast free internet via plane.
He also explained why Facebook will start accepting Naira payment after a lot of requests by Nigerian entrepreneurs to pay for advertisements and other services in Naira.
So we just announced the Facebook Journalism Project. That was in January. And our goal there is to really develop a more structured relationship with media companies and newsrooms specifically all around the world. And so that includes a bigger partnerships effort, building products together, so working with newsrooms to develop products rather than doing it internally.
The executive director at Social Media Week Lagos, Ngozi Odita, explains how the theme of the event, which is the new language of technology, looking at the future communication in Africa, will transform the way we communicate.
We wanted to focus on education, like how are we giving people access to quality education, digital tools, like how are we giving people the skills they need to be successful, whether success is starting your own company or whether success is just simply graduating from school. So that was one thing. The other thing is to encourage investment. How do we bring certain people into the room to talk about investments? How do we showcase local entrepreneurs and startups to get people interested in the business landscape and the startup landscape here in Nigeria and across Africa? The other thing is gender balance. How are we ensuring that women are equally getting the same opportunities and being equally integrated into like the tech ecosystem?
Social media is totally all enveloping. It controls how everybody does everything. And I think that those who don't know how to use it need to learn, and those who are using it need to improve their skills, because social media is not just about talking about your personal stuff, it's about your businesses. I mean, there's 60 million businesses on Facebook with business pages. If you can understand what that means in terms of scale, marketing, reach, and opportunity, then you begin to understand the real possibilities of what social media is already doing, not the potential what it's doing already.
Social Media Week is a media news publishing platform and worldwide event with a presence across 5 continents, which includes Europe, North America, Latin America, Africa, and Asia. In an era where it seems everybody shares their lives on social media, for one US startup, not enough people are. But Flipogram, based in Los Angeles, has just been acquired by a huge Chinese news company. Because in a world dominated by the likes of these kind of apps, Flipogram has been struggling to gain popularity. What Flipogram does is to take a bunch of users' pictures and then turns them into little movies with music underneath them to share on social media. But it needs to grow its user base, and that's not easy in a saturated market. And now this startup is becoming part of a Chinese family, The app has been acquired by giant news service Twatio for an undisclosed amount in early February. It's reported that it took about 6 months for Flipagram to get a buyer.
I think they can learn a lot. Toutiao has a news recommendation feature that is pretty sophisticated, and it could be used by them to recommend user content within their own app, so feeding people content they might be interested in. And then it might help them further expand in China.
For Flipagram, it's about reinventing a new picture. And as for how a new social media app catches the imagination and makes itself relevant, Jarrett Rehm made some suggestions.
It's certainly tough. There are dozens coming out every week, but a new company generally has to have a feature that sets it apart, that really engages people. For Snapchat, that was photos that disappeared. For Instagram, for example, that's filters that you can put on your photos.
For Flipagram, the dream of entering the leagues of Instagram and Snapchat is starting to become a reality. The brave new world of remote-controlled cars is now technically possible using wireless technologies set to be commonplace early next decade. Spanish telecoms giant Telefonica joined forces with Swedish network gear maker Ericsson to showcase how a car would be remotely controlled around obstacles on a test track located 70 kilometers away in Tarragona using wireless networks. The driver of the vehicle took the wheel from the floor of Fira Conference Center in Barcelona on the first day of the Mobile World Congress, Europe's biggest annual tech fair.
This is the first experience that we're conducting here on 5G, which is like a bit different to the normal mobile broadband type of applications. This is meant for remote driving of an electric vehicle, which is located 70 kilometers away from this Fira. It's in like a closed speed circuit, and it's a real electric vehicle which is controlled by here, and all the seat, the wheels, and the accelerometers and so on are connected through a 5G trial network that is being deployed by Telefonica between here and the velocity circuit. Okay, so this is the first example of a critical application showing how 5G can control machines very far away from the real where the real user is.
The remote test drive relied on the latest cloud-based mobile networks capable of the quick response times and high data rates to make split-second driving decisions from afar. Ericsson and Telefonica worked in partnership with KTH, Sweden's Royal Institute of Technology, and vehicle safety testing company Itiada to organize the demonstration. Loka added that using the state-of-the-art wireless networks to remotely control vehicles at a distance has many possible applications, ranging from electric fleets, traversing university campuses, and even eventually for wide-scale public transport.
There are a lot of applications here that we can think, for example, of campuses where electric vehicles are being around, for example, for carrying people or moving goods from one place to another, or even for metro transportation, like a very closed and predictable circuits where, for example, the driver may not be willing to sit driving the vehicle, but being instead in an off-site location driving the things. I think this is one of the best experiences of how 5G can change this type of application.
But he cautioned that for the near term, such applications would require traveling only within closed circuits, predictable routes, and in situations where it's otherwise impractical for the driver to be seated behind the wheel of the vehicle itself. The event was intended to highlight the possibilities of 5G or fifth-generation networks, which are expected to become mainstream around the world in the years after 2020. Nonetheless, in a statement, Telefonica was careful to downplay the need for new wireless investments, saying that current so-called 4.5G networks could handle most of these demands.